Hello, I'm Dr. Hassaan Tohid, and today we will talk about what is experiment. What is experiment? This is one of the most common words you have used or seen or heard or read about the field of research. So what is an experiment? And how it is different from research. So remember guys, research is when you are finding an answer. You are looking for an answer of any question. That is research. But the experiment is a kind of study design. And experiment actually can be done in any field. If you belong to medical field, non-medical field, you belong to finance, economy, business, physics, any field, doesn't matter. You will be able to do experiments. And this is one of the most commonly used words. So what is experiment? Remember, in the experiment, now this is very important. I want you to focus here. In the experiment, the scientist manipulates the environment. The scientist or one scientist, whoever is conducting this research, does something to the subject or the environment, changes the environment somehow by doing something. That is known as experiment. And that's why experiment is also known as interventional study, because scientist is doing his intervention, is intervening, is doing an intervention. When the scientist does an intervention, it is known as interventional study or experiment. Now, if you are a medical student, if you are a doctor, then you have one more terminology for that. Clinical trial. Yes. See how easy clinical trial is? Many people say, what is clinical trial? I'm scared of this. Nothing to be scared of. It is so easy. Clinical trial is when you, let's say you are a scientist and you give some medication to a patient. So you have done an intervention. When you have done an intervention and now you are observing the effects of that intervention on that patient, this is an experiment. You can call it a clinical trial or interventional study. So this is an experiment. Remember, if you give something to the patient and you look at the after effects of that thing on that patient, it's an experiment. It's a clinical trial. Same thing for non-medical students. If you do something to the person, to the subject, to the patient, you ask the person to do something, you ask the person not to do anything or not to do something. Let's say you give a glass of water to a patient, you ask the patient to drink it, he drinks it, and now you're looking at the effects of water on that patient's body or skin, whatever, or his mood. That's an experiment. If you ask him not to drink water for a few days and now you're observing the effects of not drinking water, again, this is an intervention. Although you didn't give anything to the patient now, but you intervene by stopping him from drinking water. So remember, this is very important. People think that experiment is when we just give something to the patient and the patient drinks water or eats or digests or absorbs that medication. Only then it's an experiment. No. If you ask the person to do exercise for 10 days and you look at the effects of exercise, that's an experiment. If you ask the patient to run for 10 days in a row and you look at the effects of running on that patient's legs or blood pressure, that's an experiment. If you ask the patient to drink water for 10 days, you look at the effects of that on patient, that's an experiment. If you ask the patient now not to drink water and you're looking at the effects of dehydration on his body because you stopped him from drinking water, not for 10 days, of course. This is illogical and unethical, and you're gonna kill the patient this way. And never ever do that. But what I'm saying here is that if you ask a patient not to drink water for a few hours now, let's say, and you're looking at the effects of not drinking water, that's also an experiment. So remember, it's not always giving. When you are intervening and manipulating the environment somehow, this is an experiment. Watch this video again, understand it, and if you have any questions, comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Keep learning, keep watching. Thank you.